Hello, YouTube and Facebook fans of DX Engineering. It's Tuesday afternoon here in the Eastern Time Zone. It's time for Tuesdays with Tim and Jeff. I'm Tim, K3LR, and along with me today is Jeff, KB8ZWT. And Jeff, how are the phones going today?
They've been pretty busy today. Consistent, definitely.
So customers calling in, are they, what are you hearing from customers, Jeff?
The most thing I heard last week was questions about coax. It's starting to be antenna season, and people are asking, what type of coax should I use for my VHF, UHF? What type should I use for my HF radio? So a lot of questions on coax lately.
You know, every station has got to have coax.
Yep.
I mean, it just does. Of course, you can use open wire too for outside dipole antennas, but you're going to have coax in the shack. And one thing, and you know this very well, Jeff, DX Engineering knows coax.
Yes,
I mean,
we do.
We work very hard at it. I can tell you that we inspect all of our coax on a routine basis to make sure that it is living up to the specifications. So we take a look at impedance, and we take a look at loss. We take a look at velocity factor. We make sure that the coax will work in our stripping tools and in our connectors. And when we do a custom cable, that's really good because you know, we've got some of the top technicians putting these cables together.
Yeah. And
then they also put 5,000 volts across the connectors to make sure that there is absolutely no shorts. That's known as a high pot test. And so, and you know, then they've got the nice heat shrink. It's flooded, so it's got the glue, which makes it weatherproof, not necessarily waterproof. You know, if you put it underwater, you're going to want to do more waterproofing to it. But this thing called loss, Jeff, and I think that's where you were going.
Right, absolutely.
You had a customer, and he said, Jeff, I'm going to use what, 150 feet of
150 feet of 8X for his VHF UHF antenna, which is on, I think he said, like a 25-foot tower.
Okay, so here is 150 foot. We also put nice yellow labels so you know exactly what. Here's 150 foot of our RG8X, and so this is what the customer was going to use on his VHF and UHF. Yeah. Oh boy. So we have a really nice chart, and I wanted to print it out, but it's on all of our coax cables. A really nice chart that tells you the loss and the power handling at various frequencies, like for this RG8X. And of course, this has our patented PL259 connector on it, and installed. You can see the weatherproofing there.
Right.
And we use this on field day, so it's been outside, and of course this connector is silver plated, so it's really good. That RG8X would have with 150 feet of it, he would chew up about almost 5 dB, almost 5 dB of power. Yeah. And reciprocity exists, so it would be 5 dB less receive signal strength, and also 5 dB less transmitter power. Right. So what is 5 dB? Well, if you start out with, let's say he starts out with 100 watts, all right? Maybe he's got an IC 9700. He starts out with 100 watts. The first 3 dB is down to 50, right, and he's almost 3 dB more. So he would be about 30 watts would make it to the antenna. Right. Would be just chewed up in coax loss, and the receive signals would be 3 dB less. Correct. So let's see. We have India Uniform 3 Bravo Tango Yankee Val, and Papa 43 Kilo, and Whiskey Delta 8 Juliet Mike, Oscar Tango 5 Zulu. Let's see, who else do we have in here? We have November Juliet 4 Zulu, and Gino says, and I recommend DXE ground plates, pure copper epicness. I went full DXE cables in my shack, never had an issue. Hit Japan the first day running. Yeah. So that is great. And we have from Mike Zero Tango Delta Sierra. He says, I now use all Ultraflex 7 on my antennas with glued heat shrink over the connectors. Only 400 watts in the UK, so not a big deal here. And let's see, always enjoy Tuesdays with Tim and Jeff. That's from the tall guy. And let's see, let's go up and grab some from the start. We have our friend Michael, W3 Mike Lima Japan from Pittsburgh, and 2 Echo 0 Radio Echo Echo Andy, and Kilo Golf 7 Papa Oscar United, and Whiskey 4 November Golf Uniform. And K5 TGS says your pre-made jumper cables are great, available in different lengths and connector types.
Yep.
And this place is full of them here. And let's see, if we go down to some of the new comments now. Let's see. Speaking of UHF VHF, I need a good remote switching solution for my 4 UHF VHF radios and 3 UHF VHF antennas. Tim, I know you can point me in the right direction. Unfortunately, we don't have remote switching for that at high frequencies. And I would suggest you go to SSB Electronics. They're in Germany, and they are the only ones that I'm aware of that can help you there. Delta Hotel 3 November Alpha Bravo. It's Reinhard from RF Kit on with us. Hello, Reinhard. And Clay, WA6LBU from Oklahoma City. Used to have go to club meetings with Clay when I lived there. And let's see, what do we have here? Can you please open a DX shop in the UK? Well, there's lots of, Martin Lynch is our dealer over there, and they have a lot of our stuff, and they can get it very quickly too. So take a look, Dave, at Martin Lynch. So let's get back to Coax for a minute here. Here is even smaller than RG8X. Here is RG58. Whew. Boy, is that small.
That is.
And can you imagine if you ran this on UHF VHF? Now, a lot of cases inside the car for mobile installations, this is the ticket. But if you were to use this on for that 150-foot run, it would be 6 dB on the nose.
Right.
So definitely, you put 100 watts into this, there's 25 watts out. And so this is not what you want to use. And even on 6 meters, RG58 is only good for 250 watts.
Right. You
can't run any more power than that. Now, RG8X is good for 900 watts on 6 meters. So, but it's got 2.3 dB loss per 100 feet. How about the big daddy here?
There you go.
400 max. Yep, this is the 400 max with our connectors. Beautiful connectors. Just, and Jeff, I got an email about 400 max versus LMR 400. The 400 max is a little bit more flexible, and the loss characteristics are great for the 400 max. For instance, at 6 meters, it's only down 1.1 dB per 100 feet, and you can run up to 2.1 kilowatts, but our legal limit here in the US is 1.5. And on 50 megahertz, or I'm sorry, on 2 meters, the loss is 1.8 dB.
Right.
Per 100 feet.
And he did decide to go with the 400 max.
All right. So you helped him, that nice chart.
Yep.
And I'll bring that next week. That chart is so beautiful.
Yep.
Parky did that chart, and it lays out all the losses for you. Mm-hmm. But just by using the right cable, you pick up signal. Like I said, it not only is lossy on receive and transmit. So a lot of guys just say, well, it only is going to hurt my transmitter power. No, it hurts your receive signals too. So you want to use the right coax for the job.
Correct.
You know, and I'm a big fan of RG213 too.
Yep.
Hey, one of those things about 400 max, you got to use crimp connectors for the shield. There are 2 shields inside 400 max and 2 shields inside of LMR 400, and you can't solder them. You cannot solder to that foil in there. So you have to bond the shields together. Times Microwave, who makes the LMR 400, talks about this. And they say you only should use crimp connectors.
Right.
That's it. Just crimps. And then the center conductor is soldered. And so our patented connector works that way. You have to use crimp connectors to properly bond the shields in the connector. So when you take down and crimp it, that the braid then becomes part of the connection to the foil shield. And I'll strip apart some next week, and we can take a look at that.
Right.
So we have Sugar Juliet 2 whiskey on from Sweden. And John says, see, I know you could point me in the right direction. Thanks. And by the way, thanks for picking up the Paradigm products. That's really a good line. And we're glad to have it. And November Alpha 2 Golf. And let's see, Dino says he's running late working on a QST article. I can't wait to see that, Dino. Love your QST articles. And Andy says he uses RG217. That's a little bigger for UHF and VHF. And here's our friend Safe, Alpha 71 Alpha Mike. And I know he's been doing some vacationing, so hopefully he's back home. And Safe, I hope to work you on 40 meters tonight. That would be nice. And here's Luke, LU1 Fox Alpha Mike. And I met up with Lucas at one of the WRTCs. And let's see, Doug says, N7 Bravo Victor Tango. I'm looking for a thin, low-loss coax for HF operation. Well, you know, Jeff, there are laws. There are laws of physics.
Yep. Yes, there are. Yep.
We'd all like to have, you know, ice cream on a stick that doesn't melt except for when it's going in your mouth. But
right.
It's not the case. And thin, low-loss coax is just doesn't exist.
No.
There's the Parky chart right there. Charts and guides, DXE-8X PDF. Our friend Skip Longpath, he's got it in there. And thanks very much, Parky, for bringing up the. You just click on that link, and it'll take you right to the handy charts and guides. So, Doug, you're going to have to make a decision. Do you want low loss or do you want thin? If it's going to go thin, the loss is going to go up. It's just those are the facts. So the larger the diameter, typically the lower the loss.
Right. And
so let's see, which coax is better for HF? Well, for HF, I like using our DXE 400 or 400 Max.
That's what I have right here in the house.
That's what you've got on your vertical, right, Jeff?
Yep, absolutely.
And so that's, and if you need more flexibility, the DX RG213 is real good. I have a lot of that here. I use that on all my rotor loops and everything. Let's see. Pop Echo 2 Kilo says connector must be good, or you get it too hot. That's right. And it'll get hot if it's not good and there's resistance there, and that will create heat. It's the middle of the night, and here's Victor Uniform 3 Radio Zulu Golf from India. And John says no such thing as thin, low-loss coax. No. Well, you know, for a while I believed in the Easter Bunny too. But yeah, Doug, you're going to have to make a trade-off. Either it's small, high loss, or larger, low loss. And let's see, we've got Whiskey Alpha 1 Queen Zulu X-Ray, and he says, I'm loving my ACOM 1010 amp, and great to hear it. And K4 Victor Tango Echo, and our friend Ray Novak from ICOM America. You can never have too much coax. I have a whole barn full of coax. It's known as the coax barn. And when Jeff was talking to me earlier this morning, he says, we need to talk about coax today. And I said, that's a great idea. So I had all the props right,
that's awesome.
50 feet away from the shack. It's just like the lady said at the checkout counter at DX Engineering. She said, I came up with a roll of coax a few months ago, and she says, don't you have everything already? I said, I'm working on moving this warehouse to K3LR.
Yes, you are. Definitely.
One SKU at a time.
Yep.
And we have Kilo Charlie Zero Queen Fox Sierra. And Dave, I'm not going to comment on Ultraflex because we don't sell it. And so I don't know where you get it, and that's a discussion for another day. We also have LMR 600, which is even lower loss. Have you sold that, Jeff?
I've sold some in the past, but not lately. But yeah, we have.
Yeah, it's it's about 0.6 inches OD. So that's what but it is. I have some of that here in the shack running on the floors.
Right.
Let's see. Jamie Lee says, what type of antenna is good in an area surrounded by apartments? I'm working on a small project with my son, Tim, starting out a small radio project. Well, Jamie Lee, it's going to be tough. When you're surrounded like that, you're going to have to try various things. Typically, some sort of a balcony type antenna. There are some short ones from Chameleon.
Yeah.
There's the compact tenna. Have you had some experience with that, Jeff? The compact tenna?
Yeah, actually, I took one of those and did a park activation with it a while back, and it worked nice. Everybody was trying to figure out what that was sticking on the roof of my truck in the campsite, but yeah, that's a good antenna. And like you mentioned, the Chameleon, that Chameleon M-Pass, what I use, even with a spike mount, you can spike that into the ground, or it does have, you can't get a clamp on it that you could clamp onto a balcony. So yeah, a lot of people use that for HOAs restrictions.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
And let's see, he says, request you to start DX Engineering shop in India. Lots of hams from here need such quality stuff. You want to go to India, Jeff?
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah.
And let's see, John says LMR 600 is heavy and expensive, but it's low loss.
Yeah.
It is heavy, but if you're chasing loss, that's definitely the way to go. Let's see, RG213 is good enough for HF. There's really not much gain to be had by splashing out on LMR 400 at HF. And that is true. That is true. Some people want the 100% shielding of the LMR 400 Max. And John says mag loop or screwdriver for apartment dwellers.
Yep.
Those are two great ideas. And we have some mag loops in stock, and we also have the screwdriver, which is typically used for mobile, but we have that as well. And Gordon says using lower loss coax can mitigate extra losses from high VSWR, but that's about it at HF. And thanks very much, Alpha Delta 5 Golf Golf. And John says MFJ mag loops, pretty good for that. Helped a buddy of mine put one up at a balcony in Charleston, South Carolina. So take a look at that, Jamie Lee.
And also on our on all bands, I think they just did something on HOA restrictions, and some of those antennas are in there. Mentions those. Yeah,
take a look at the blog onallbands.com. That's a good point, because there are articles about this. And KE8 November Golf Victor says, I'm conflicted. QRP what's better, Wolf River coil or an end fed to hit all bands? So, you know, it's going to be a compromise either way you go. I've seen the Wolf River stuff, and it's really good.
Yep.
So, you know, an end fed is still a compromised antenna, especially if you're trying to hit all bands. An off-center fed dipole that's got some resonance to it would actually be better, because you start getting SWR, that coax loss goes way up. So be careful on that, Glenn. And if you need more help, call in to our 800 number, and Jeff or one of the guys will help you make a selection. So, Jeff, I think it's time for your lunch break, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back out to the coax barn and see how things are going there, and also get ready to do 40 meters later tonight. And hope everybody has a great week. And we got 2 more shows coming up this week. We got Thursday afternoon, and that's our manufacturer showcase. And I'm going to have Alex from Brazil, from Alex Loop.
That's a nice antenna.
So speaking of small antennas,
right there.
That's going to be good. Take a look at the Alex Loop. And let's see, we got on Friday will be the weekend special. And last Friday, we showed how to measure front to back ratio by using 2 radios. And so that was a very popular segment. I got a lot of emails over the weekend about it. And if you missed it, you can go back to YouTube and take a look at it. Take a look for the weekend special and the 6-meter front to back tests.
Right. So, and I won't be here next week, Tim.
Oh,
I'm taking a vacation. Yeah, unless you're down in Holmes County, Ohio, you probably won't find me anywhere other than down there, possibly.
Well, I won't, but we'll see. We might have to have a guest on. I'll give that some thought. And let's see. John says, I know you don't sell them, Tim, but DX Commander for Parks on the Air and portable is great. Have you heard about DX Commander?
I've heard a couple people who have used them. I've never seen one, but everybody seems to say. I don't know who makes those. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see who that is, and maybe we need to bring them on. And you know, Skip, thanks very much. The deal of the week. You know, it's Signal Link time. Tigertronics stuff is at a deep discount. Go to the dxengineering.com website, and right there on the banner, you'll see Tigertronics on sale. So selected SKUs of Signal Link products are on sale this week. And thank you, Skip, for that. And let's see, we got Paul, AB8FR. He says, hi, Tim. Great job with the videos. I used your video on how to install PL259 with my students. So the DX Commander is made in the UK. So we will try to do that. And thank you, John, Mike Zero, Mike Charlie X-Ray. We will take a look at that. Made in the UK, we might be able to bring that on. Yeah. So, all right, Jeff, I hear your stomach growling there. It is. So off to lunch for you, and I'm back to work for me. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget, 2:30, that's 18:30 Zulu on Thursday for the manufacturer showcase, and 20 Zulu on Friday. That's 4 p.m. Eastern for the weekend special. For now, this is a wrap. 73 from DX Engineering.
Take care.